we are actually in the middle of our very special topic, speaking about Shabbat. And this class tonight, and Be'ezrat Hashem, the following one, we're going to dedicate to the concept of something that is very, very special for us women, which is Shabbat candles. You know, when one thinks about a symbol, something that symbolizes a Jewish home, I think many of us will probably picture in front of their eyes a Jewish mother lighting the Shabbat candles, right? It's something that's become so acceptable, even in homes when people maybe don't keep Shabbat, but somehow the Shabbat candles have a very important symbolic importance and meaning. But really, Shabbat is a lot more. The Shabbat candles have a much deeper meaning than just, you know, creating a nice atmosphere in the house. It's not just like going to a restaurant where you see lots of small tea lights on the table and it creates a nice atmosphere. Of course, it does create a nice atmosphere, but there's a lot more to what Shabbat candles is all about. What are the reasons? Let's talk about some of the reasons. What's special about the light of a candle? One of the things that's special about the light of the candle is, which is different from many other things in the world, is that when I have a candle and I light another candle with that light, the light of the original candle does not lose anything of its intensity. The light remains the same, right? We can light 100, 1,000 candles with that one light, with that one candle, and that one candle will remain just the same. It doesn't happen in anything else in the world, in anything, I would say, physical in the world. If, let's say, I had here 100 coins, and I would give each one of you a coin, eventually the bowl will be empty. Because whenever we give something, it just diminishes. That's right. But with a candle, it's different. It's also different in other areas. Which area? The spiritual area. Let me give you an example. If I give of my love to my child, do I have less love in my heart for that child? No, the child received my love, the child received my affection and my warmth, but the love in me did not diminish, right? Or when I do an act of kindness, let's say I go to visit a sick person in the hospital, I give of myself. Do I have less kindness or less emotions, positive emotions inside me towards that person? Did I lose something? On the contrary, maybe I became even richer and stronger and better. So when it comes to spiritual matters, the more we share what we have, the more we give what we have, either we have more or at least we don't lose anything. And this basically is true for the light of the candles. So from here we see one thing that's important, and that is that the Shabbat candles are not just something physical, not just something, you know, nice, you know, pretty, but it has some deeper spiritual meaning attached to it. In fact, the Ben Ish Chai tells us that the reason that we light Shabbat candles is just like a candle doesn't lose of its light, so too the Shabbat gives, and we spoke about it in the past, we spoke about how the holiness of the Shabbat lends itself over to the days of the week, right? And the Shabbat doesn't lose any of its holiness. Because of that, there is a connection between Shabbat and the Shabbat candles. Just like the Shabbat doesn't lose of its sanctity and its holiness when it gives its sanctity to the rest of the days of the week, so too the same thing applies to the candle. In fact, Rabbi Eliezer says that this is the reason why it says, "Vaybarech Elokim et Yom HaShavi'i," when it says that God blessed the seventh day. How did he bless the seventh day, the Shabbat? With a candle. And he says, one day I lit a candle on Eve of Shabbat, on Erev Shabbat, I lit a candle. On Mosai Shabbat, when I came back, I saw that there was nothing missing from that candle. The candle remained just the same. What he's trying to tell us is the same idea, that the reason, one of the deep reasons why we light the Shabbat candles is because this is the power of the candle. It's like a spiritual power that the candles have, that even though we use it, they don't diminish. Now, there's another reason. How do we feel when we light the Shabbat candles? I think you describe it the best. You feel that suddenly there was such a transition from the hecticness of the hectic life of the week, the rushing, the madness, the noise, the arguments, the fights, whatever it is, and suddenly there's a whole transition, and it's just very different. You feel that you're really in a different world. You're in a holy world. You moved from a world of hol, of mundane, everyday life, to something holy, to something different. You feel that you moved from something temporary to something which is eternal. And this is something that we have to tell ourselves. We have to tell ourselves, you know, the whole week, we're involved with all kinds of things. We run around. We tend to get carried away with our negative emotions. Maybe sometimes there's jealousy or anger or not giving people the benefit of the doubt, whatever it is. When Shabbat, this is all part of the week. When Shabbat comes, we have to realize that it's a different kind of a atmosphere. It's a different medium. Right now, when Shabbat comes and when we light the candles, it's something different. We have to realize that the ner, the candle, represents our soul. There is a pasuk in Mishle, Ner Hashem Nishmat Adam, which means that a candle, the candle represents our neshama. In the Zohar HaKadosh, it says that the candle of Shabbat represents our neshama. So when we light the candles, we have to remind ourselves, forget about all the small, unimportant things, the fights and the negative feelings and all those things that don't really count. Let's really look at the neshama, at the most beautiful and pure and holy part of our being. Not only our neshama, the neshama of our child, and the neshama of our husbands, and really focus on that which is holy, on that which is good, on that which is pure. That's what's important. Let's put aside all the unimportant things that we get carried away during the week and forget about what's really, really important. Ner Hashem Nishmat Adam. The candle is like our soul. Let's look inside. Let's focus on what's really important, on the neshama. Because the neshama is pure. The neshama is holy. When we speak about the neshama, we don't think about she said that, he said that, he did it purposely. The neshama is pure, the neshama is holy. This is the time to focus on that. To focus on the good that every single one of us has. Myself, and our family members, and all people around us. Another important fact connected with the Ner of Shabbat, Shabbat candles. As we know, we're familiar with the fact that the tent of Sarah Imenu had 3 miracles happening. One of the miracles was that the Shabbat candle was lit from one Friday night to the next Friday night. Her Shabbat candles, when she lit her Shabbat candles, they remained lit from one Friday night to the next Friday night. I read something interesting. So the question is, why didn't it continue burning continuously? Why from one Friday night to the next? Why not on and on and on and on? And the answer is, it could have. But the imahot themselves put it out so they will be involved in this important mitzvah of hadlakat nerot. So every Friday night they would put it out so they can light the Shabbat candles themselves again. So now, this is the miracle that happened in the tent of Sarah Imenu. By the way, the same miracle happened in the Beit HaMikdash, right? In the Beit HaMikdash, the candle was also lit from one Friday to the next. Now, we, through the Shabbat candles, can connect, as we spoke about Rachel Imenu. Now we'll speak about our connection with Sarah Imenu. We can connect with Sarah Imenu, something close to 4,000, someone who lived close to 4,000 years ago, and be like her, because we are her daughters. So when we light the Shabbat candles, first of all, it gives us an opportunity to connect with this amazing woman, Sarah Imenu. I often tell people, I think, especially when I speak to young girls, and I ask them, who is your role model? And, you know, different people have different role models. I don't know what they think about me when I tell them, you know, I would like you to think about someone like Sarah Imenu as your role model. I don't know what they think about me, but that's what I would really like all of us, every single Jewish woman, to feel, that this is our role model, a great woman like Sarah Imenu. So when we light the candles, first of all, we make this connection with Sarah Imenu. And secondly, it gives us also an opportunity to build a special home like the home of Sarah Imenu. Perhaps our candles won't remain lit from one Friday night to the next. It's okay. But we still have the ability to build a home that's built on holiness, a home that's full of peace and harmony. And that's how we are like Sarah Imenu. Speaking about this, we're told actually there are 3 main reasons why we light the Shabbat candles. One reason is because it shows an honor to the Shabbat. That's how we honor Shabbat. You know, when you want to have a nice festive meal, like when you go to a pizza restaurant, you won't find any candles on the tables there, right? When you go to a nice fancy restaurant, there'll be candles there. It makes the meal more important, more special. So it shows that this meal, the Shabbat meal, is an important meal. This is one reason why we light the Shabbat candle, to show how we honor the Shabbat. A second reason is honor Shabbat, to show how the pleasure of the Shabbat. I recently read something which I found very interesting. I read that when person, lo alenu, is blind, they don't get any satisfaction from eating. They can eat, but they don't get any satisfaction from the food that they eat. And what's the reason? The reason is because they cannot see the food that they are eating. We don't think about it. Baruch Hashem, we were blessed with good eyes and we can see the food that's on our plates. But people who cannot see don't get any pleasure from their food. And this is another reason why we have, in the old days they didn't have any electric lights, so all the light came from the candles. This is another reason why we are told that we should light the Shabbat candles, because when we eat and there is light there, then we really get pleasure from the food that we eat. If we eat in darkness, try once. Sit in the darkness and see and try to eat and see how you feel. So when we eat and there's light and we're able to see what we eat, it gives us a lot of pleasure. A third reason is Shabbat candles. When we light the Shabbat candles, they bring peace into the home. How is that? Not long ago, it was about a year ago when we had the storm here, and there were many houses without light. Do you remember how it felt to be in a dark home? It's not for no reason that small children get scared in the dark. Darkness is something that creates very unpleasant feelings and emotions in a person. Besides, if it's a dark place, you don't know where you walk, you might hit something, you might trip on something, you look for something, you can't find what you're looking for. It's a horrible feeling. And you don't even have candles, it's just dark. That is why our rabbis tell us, if a person doesn't have enough money, again, something which we don't understand, I hope we never will, but if a person does not have enough money to buy wine for Shabbat for Kiddush and candles, what should he can only buy one of those two items, either wine for Kiddush or candles for Shabbat. Which is more important? And our rabbis tell us, buy candles for Shabbat. Why? Because in darkness, there's no peace. Darkness is a horrible thing. Go buy candles for Shabbat, better than buying wine for Kiddush. In fact, to such an extent, it's important that they say that if a person does not have any money, he should go and beg people to give him money to buy the Shabbat candles. Again, we don't understand, Baruch Hashem, I'm glad we don't understand what it means, but it shows us the importance of this mitzvah. Now, so we said that when there's light, there's peace, you're able to see, you can see what you're looking for, you don't fall, you don't trip. The husband said, oh, why did you put this in the middle of the room? Didn't you know that I was going to go through? And they start a fight. And she says, no, I put it especially for you, so you'll have a chair right there in the middle. And, okay, so to prevent fights and create peace, we have to have light in the house. Darkness also refers, on a slightly deeper meaning, to a world without faith. If you are a person without faith, you just live your life. You come to this world, you leave this world, No faith, you don't know what your purpose in life is, you don't have any belief that there is a creator, that there is someone who takes care of everything. You see all kinds of things about you. You see all kinds of things happening. There's a lot of hardship. There's a lot of suffering in the world. There's a lot of things that you don't understand, a lot of confusion. It's all dark. And there's no explanation. A person without faith, a person without a belief in Hashem, is a person who walks in the darkness. However, light represents the knowledge that there is God in the world, that there is a hand that takes care of everything. That when things happen, they happen for a reason. And when there's hardship and when there's suffering, we know that something good will come out of it at the end. This is a source of light. This is the meaning of light. A person with faith, a person who believes, a person who knows that there is someone in charge, his life is full of light. He doesn't walk in the darkness. And this is one other connection with the contrast between darkness and light. As I said, Shabbat candles are there for creating peace and harmony in the house. And whose job is it to light the Shabbat candles? The wife, the lady of the house. She is in charge of the home. She is in charge of the house. And she is supposed to be in charge of lighting the candles because it's primarily her duty to take care of creating peace and harmony in the home. And that is when both the husband and the wife are in the house. It's first of all, the woman takes precedence, and it's her job to light the Shabbat candles. Because we master the art of creating peace and harmony in the house. It's a big responsibility, I know, but we are really created with the tools and with the ability to do that. And that is why it is primarily the responsibility of the wife to light the Shabbat candles. You know, we will talk about how we light the Shabbat candles, etc., next time, Be'ezrat Hashem. But in connection with this topic of Shalom Bayit, peace in the home, I want to mention something about how we light the candles. We are told that when we light the candles, we should light it with a wick that is soft and absorbent, and that the oil, you know, there are all types of oil that one can light with. The oil should be this type of oil that lights more easily. And even here, we find a connection to the idea of creating peace and harmony in the home. In order for us to have peace in the home, we have to be soft. Just like the wick has to be a soft and absorbent wick. We can't be hard. It's only when we are soft and when we're willing to forego our honor and our pride and see the other person, that is when we can create peace and harmony. If we are hard and stiff and not ready to move or budge from what we think is right, peace cannot be created. And we see a hint here, even in what we light the Shabbat candles with. A soft wick and an absorbent wick. There's something interesting also that the Ben Ish Chai brings in connection to that. You know that, as we said, that we should really work on the peace and harmony in the home. Now, the word ner in Gematria is 250, right? 250. Now, the minimal obligation of how many candles we light, and we'll talk about it more next week, is 2. Now, 2 times 250 is 500. Now, if we look at something else connected with a man and a woman, we're told that a male, has 248 limbs in their body. Women have 4 more, 252 limbs in her body. Female has 252. If we add 248 and 252, it comes to 500. And this shows us, again, the importance of how the husband and the wife are like one body. And all week we should, of course, work on this topic of Shalom Bayit and harmony and understanding and love. But Shabbat is a special day, and that is, again, our responsibility to create that in the home. As we said before, people always felt that there's something very special about the Shabbat candles. We mentioned that even people who are not observant light the Shabbat candles. I guess their neshama feels something. I want to share with you a story that I read about what some young girls did during the Holocaust. And this is actually was a report, a testimony that was given at the time of when they, during Eichmann's trial in Eretz Yisrael. And one of the ladies who testified said the following. She said, "We arrived to Auschwitz on the 18th of January, 1943. They put us in stables of horses, and we just got wooden shelves to sleep on, to lie on. These were the conditions." She said, "One of the first things that we did, myself and my friends, when we arrived there, was to find some people whom we knew, and to ask them for 2 ends of candles to prepare for Shabbat. On Friday evening, we all gathered. We were about 10 or 12 girls. It was completely dark in that stable. He said there wasn't even a floor there or any sanitary conditions, which they later on added. We lit the candles, and quietly we started to sing Shabbat songs. The light of the candles were glowing. And after a short pause in the singing, we heard a quiet cry. We didn't know where it was coming from. We were all shocked. And then we understood that there were women there who were there for months and even years, who gathered with us, came and joined us with the singing, and even asked us for permission to say the blessing on the Shabbat candles. I guess it's not so clear from here, but what I understand from here, that those women never lit the Shabbat candles before. It was like a first time. That's the way I understand from here, that after many months or years that there was the light of the Shabbat candles there in Auschwitz. She writes, it was a very moving evening. And then we made it a habit that every Friday night we would light the Shabbat candles. We may have not had any bread to eat, and sometimes we even had nothing to drink. But somehow we were always able to get hold of candles and to light them for Shabbat. Now, Baruch Hashem, we live in a different world. And it's important we'll understand the depth and the meaning behind the Shabbat candles. You know, there is a pasuk also, Kiner miswa betorah or. The miswa connected with lighting the candle is like the light of the Torah. What does it mean? It means that when we light the Shabbat candles, what we do in our home, we bring the light of the Torah into our home. And it is us, the women, it is us, the ladies, who are responsible of creating a Jewish home. When men sometimes make jokes about women, they are the boss, they are in charge, let them joke. But definitely, when it comes to the decision of what kind of a home this home is going to be, and what kind of education my children are going to get, and what kind of upbringing my children will get, all depends on us, on the women. The women are the ones who really make this crucial determination of what kind of a home we're going to have and what kind of children we're going to have. It's a big responsibility, but it's in our hands. And I see it, and I'm sure you've seen it yourselves also. If the woman wants her children to follow a certain path, they will follow a certain path. It's all in our hands. It's in the hands of the woman, whether it's a home of Torah, whether these are children who are going to follow the path of the Torah, all stems from the women. We might be often not in the front, in the back somewhere, and not everybody knows about us, but really, who really makes this decision is us. And that is one of the reasons why we're told that there's a big sarula, something special connected with lighting the Shabbat candles, to pray at that time to have children who are going to be Talmidei Chachamim, who are going to be Torah scholars. I remember once, some years ago, a friend of mine told me that she doesn't understand what it means. She didn't come from a very religious background. And she said, okay, this is the time you light the Shabbat candles. Shouldn't you ask for other things that are more important? Of course we can ask for other things. We spoke about the fact, and we will speak about it more, how the time of lighting the candles is Eis Rason, is a very, very special time. It's a very special time for our tefillot to be accepted, to be heard by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But one of the important things that we as women can pray for is that our children and our children's children will follow in the path of the Torah. Because this is really the difference between light and darkness, between that which is eternal and that which is permanent, which is temporary. This is really what's important. Now, I'll just end with one small story connected also with Shabbat candles. And this is a story that is brought in the Gemara in Masechet Ta'anit about the daughter of Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa. One day, Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa, who was a very great man and was known to have a lot of miracles happen to him, came home on Friday evening after Shabbat started, and he saw his daughter crying. He said to her, "Why are you crying?" She said, "You know what happened? By mistake, instead of taking the container which contains the oil to light the candles with, I took the vinegar and prepared to light the wicks with vinegar. And obviously, try one day and have an experiment with your children, with your grandchildren, just with yourself, or in the classroom, to see if you can light candles with vinegar. It won't work." But the candles were burning. He said, why are you crying? He said to her, Mi she'amal lashemen sheyidlak, he who makes oil burn, yomal lachometz sheyidlak, he will tell the vinegar to burn. He said, for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there's nothing for him. For us, it seems that lighting with vinegar is an impossibility. But he who is above nature, just like we can light candles with oil, for him, is there anything that is impossible to do? So he will make sure that the candles will light. Don't worry. And the candles did remain lit. So just to summarize, lighting the Shabbat candles is very, very important and special mitzvah for us women. It really, really brings the beauty of the home, the holiness of the home, and that is through us, through the woman. The woman is the one who is in charge of creating harmony and peace and building a home of Torah. And I hope and pray, Be'ezrat Hashem, that really we will experience and we will really feel that when we light the Shabbat candles, it's not just a pleasant experience, as we said at the beginning, going to the restaurant and having, it's also, of course, as we said, it's for honoring Shabbat, it's for the pleasure of the Shabbat, to honor the Shabbat, but also it has some very deep spiritual meaning attached to it. Thank you very, very much. Again, if there are any questions, please do ask me. Next week, Be'ezrat Hashem, we're going to talk more about what we light with, how many candles we light, where we light, more of the practical applications to do with Shabbat candles. But if anybody has any questions, please ask.